Hello. This presentation is an introduction to the Wikibook chapter examining the effects of emotional biases on risk-taking and decision-making in financial markets. Participating in financial markets involves making high-risk decisions. Emotional biases are predictable patterns in thinking that cause errors and poor performance in markets. Understanding how our emotions influence our decision-making could improve financial outcomes and quite possibly be worth its weight in gold. Emotions are short-lived responses to stimuli that help us adapt to challenges. Put simply, emotions are cognitions, feelings, and actions. Emotion can be understood in three aspects: the biological, cognitive, and social. Decision-making, risk-taking, and emotion are generated in the brain by an interaction between the cortex, subcortical structures, and hormones. The brain is thought to generate emotions by receiving stimuli. Cognition takes place, followed by a physiological reaction that results in the subjective feeling of that emotion. Cognitions, which are how we think and evaluate our experience, influence the intensity of our emotions, clarity of our thoughts, and quality of our decision-making. This concept is known as appraisal theory. Financial decisions are inherently relevant to the self and contain risk. Therefore, they are an excellent example of how an appraisal of a decision drives the intensity of that emotion. This effect is the antecedent condition for making emotionally biased decisions. Markets, at their core, are interactions between people in societies. As we are social animals, interpersonal emotional dynamics influence our behaviour and choices. Examples of such interactions include phenomena such as mimicry, feedback, and social contagion, with effects in financial markets that include herding behaviour and irrational exuberance, the consequences of which are demonstrated by the boom-bust cycle of financial markets. Let us consider a specific case. You have just invested in a company, and you see their product is everywhere. The shares you have bought have already doubled in value, but you hear concerns about the safety of their product. You think to yourself, it seems fine to me, and you're hopeful for the future of the company. What would you do? While all are valid potential alternatives, B demonstrates an optimism bias. The emotional appraisal that things will continue to go well in the future would be considered overly optimistic and an error in thinking. A catastrophic example of this bias was demonstrated during the last financial crisis. Unfounded optimism in subprime mortgage lending skewed the perception of risk in financial decision-making. We are still recovering from the impacts of these decisions today. Emotional biases influence decision-making and risk-taking through our biology by various neurological processes. Our cognitions and emotions distort our thinking in significant appraisals, and our social interactions and group behaviour greatly impact our choices. These biases are the consequence of innate emotional functions poorly adapted to modern finance. I hope this resource has sparked interest in this topic, and I invite you to dive deeper into the chapter. Thank you for your time.